Hi everyone, I hope you're having a great night. Coming up later is a live performance by our featured entertainer, internationally renowned artist Michael Israel, who is best described as Cirque du Soleil meets Picasso. And after his amazing show, you might even get to steal an artwork.
Hey, let's have a party. Hey, hey, let's have a party. Hey, hey, let's have a party. Hey, 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 let's have a party. Welcome to my living room. Great to see you too. Is that a monkey at your side? Well, have a real good time. Take your shoes off. Take your socks off. Take your feet off. Welcome hippos, come on in. Do you know how to swim? There's a pool inside the sink. Hop on in and drink. I mean, I don't like to drink water that I'm swimming in, but that's kind of your thing,
The Israel Tennis Center's foundation is now the Israel Tennis and Education Centers. Over the last 43 years, we've grown and evolved into a social service organization that uses sports, academic enrichment, and life skills mentoring to empower the lives of thousands of children from diverse backgrounds.
1 out of 3 children in Israel live under the poverty line, and many of them are at risk. For many of the children in Israel, this is first of all a safe place. The idea was to use tennis as the vehicle and to keep the children off the street.
Growing up in Jerusalem, we have the options, either go in the streets and play and hang out with the kids in the street, or the solution was for me going to the tennis center.
Most of my childhood I spent on a bomb shelter because we had to run away from the rockets from Lebanon. When I found the tennis center, for me as a kid it was the island of stability and I found a safe place for me to grow up.
It started with one tennis center. Today we have 14 tennis centers.
My name is Orel Adga. My parents came from Ethiopia. I came to my tennis center 6 years ago and I love it so much. I play tournaments, study and learn English.
Whether rich or poor, color or religion, everybody is welcome.
Badia is a Christian Arab coach. He grew up at the coexistence program.
All the people are talking about coexistence, and in the ITC, we live it. I live it.
13 out of the 14 tennis centers are located in underprivileged communities.
My name is Jennifer. I live in South Tel Aviv, which is located in an underprivileged neighborhood. My father abandoned me when I was a baby. It's only my mom that is taking care of me and my brother. She cannot afford to give me better life.
When they come to the tennis center, this is a place that will provide tutoring and education.
My name is Daniel Duduchkin. Originally, I come from a small kibbutz 20 miles away from the border with Lebanon. When I was a little kid, my mom got sick. She had a breast cancer, and she is a single parent, so she couldn't look after me. The ITC helped me with financial scholarships, and I'm really thankful for that. I got a full scholarship in a university here in the United States of America. Without the ITC, I would not get the scholarship.
We feel that education is what will change his life and many of the other children's life at the tennis center.
The kids at the tennis center, they develop differently. They develop with good values.
I learned that working hard, being disciplined, and never give up, those are the three main values that I take with me everywhere.
Helping kids stay away from the streets, go to a safe place, get those values, and be a better person. Be a winner in life, and not just winner on the court. It's winner on the court and winner in life.
This is how we make an impact on the lives of 20,000 children. Tennis is just the vehicle.
And ladies and gentlemen, get ready to laugh until you cry. Let's give a great big I-Tech welcome to Sarge the comedian.
Good evening, Sarge. We're thrilled to be with you this evening. And we have some questions for you. So I'm going to start out with a really easy one. Where'd the name Sarge come from?
Where'd the name Sarge come from? You said you were going to start with the easy ones. That's a hard question. Where did the name Sarge come from? I got to college in the 80s. I won't say which part of the 80s. Let's put it this way. I recently turned 57, and even more recently, I turned 59. So that should give you an idea. I'm in college. I show up at the dorm, the freshman dorm. All the football players, you know, we're all there. And a lot of very highly intelligent guys there. And they started just calling me Sarge, like as soon as they saw me. And it was Boston, so they had this accent. Say, hey, Sarge, how you doing? So I was looking behind me. Who's Sarge? I have no idea who Sarge is. So one guy said, you're Sarge. I said, why? He says, we can't tell you. But later I found out the reason they gave me the name Sarge, or Sarge, if you are playing with a full deck, was because they said I resembled one of the characters in the Beetle Bailey comic strip. Now you have to be at least 90 to know from Beetle Bailey. But Alan, I'm pretty sure you have a Beetle Bailey collection there somewhere. So they said I looked like a character from Beetle Bailey. So there you go. And then they started calling me Sarge, and I tried to tell them my name is Stephen. My name is Stephen Charles. I would, when my mother was angry at me, she called me Stephen Charles. My middle name is Charles, last name Pickman. And I would tell them my name, and I would correct them. I got tired of correcting them. They'd say, oh, okay, Sarge, whatever you want. So make a long story short, which we're not here to do, because we're here to raise money. We're here to reacquaint people with entertainment. Some people haven't been out of their house since February. So welcome. I'm Sarge. I'm here with Amy and Alan. It's supposed to be one of the top 3,000 or 4,000 nights.
Thank you.
I'm so glad you're with us. It's an honor, and I think we're all desperately in need of a really good laugh. I know you enjoy doing impressions, and two of my favorite Black Jewish people that I know you mimic are Sammy Davis Jr. and Kermit the Frog. Will you give it a shot?
Well, what's interesting about that is they're very close. They're very, very close. And the funny thing was, I was doing Kermit the Frog in my shows, and I would sing Rainbow Connection in my show. Why are there so many songs about rainbows, and what's on the other side? So one night, I'm doing my show in Los Angeles, and this very small man, they call them little people. You can't use the other term now because we're politically correct. We can't talk about manhole covers anymore. Those are service entrances. We can't call a stewardess or a flight attendant. Those are sky liaisons. And this was a little person came over to me. Well, it turns out he's not a little person. He said, you owe me a royalty. And I said, for what? He said, for that song. He says, I wrote that song. I said, really? He says, oh, yes. He says, it was Paul Williams. I don't know if you remember Paul Williams, but Paul Williams lives in a medicine bottle. So to make a long story short, there I am singing Rainbow Connection as Kermit the Why are there so many songs about rainbows? Later in my career, I got so tired of everyone coming to me and saying, oh, are you really a Black Jew? Really? And I would say, that's right. I'm a one-person hate crime waiting to happen. I don't know which part of my family is least liked. They said, well, Sammy Davis Jr. this, Sammy Davis Jr. that. And so I got some charts worked up, and I began to do Sammy Davis Jr. in my show. Hey there, you with the stars in your eyes, love never made a fool of you. And so I had Kermit and Sammy in the same show, and I'm glad you picked those because those are two of my favorites. Although Kermit the Frog was not just Jewish, he wasn't Jewish at all. Kermit was Black. Many people don't know that, and he did most of his shows on the Muppet Network in greenface, which had a number of people outraged. So, Amy, I love the wall. Is that the Eastern Wall?
It's a prison wall.
It's really, it's the prison wall from the movie with Gandolfini and Robert Redford, right? Yeah. The last flag. What was that movie called? I don't know. It doesn't matter. So how you guys doing over there? You're in Youngstown, Ohio, and Alan is in near Albany, which means, he gets to go to Governor Cuomo's daily briefings every day, so we can find out, some of the tragedies and glorification of what's going on over there. But I'm here in sunny Florida. It's 94 degrees here today. So as though there weren't enough chance of dying from everything else that's going on, you could also get heat stroke here too.
Thanks so much. So I'll go back to your early life. You spent some time in Great Neck as a youngster. I lived in Great Neck for 3 years with one child, and we were a total white family. How was it being a Black child with two white parents and being Jewish in Great Neck, of all places?
Well, being Jewish in Great Neck, what a shock.
Yeah, shock.
Great Neck has 275 synagogues and 274 Starbucks. But Great Neck was how I came to Great Neck is the miracle of the whole thing. I was born in Miami Beach. Now, what you have to know about this is that my birth mother, I was adopted. My birth mother was an Orthodox Jewish girl from Chicago. My birth father was an African-American man. Think about it. So when I was born, I'm born to an Orthodox Jewish girl. Think about this, studying to be a doctor. Very religious family. She is made to be pregnant by a black man. This is at a time when black folks and white folks were still drinking out of separate water fountains and being mowed down by fire hoses. Do you remember the video, the black and white video? So that's when I was born. Now, my parents didn't know they were adopting a mixed child, you know? And when I was born, think about the name changes and think of how political correctness is pervasive in our society right now. I'm considered a person of color, which basically we all are. We're all people of color. Alan, I can see that you have a color. You're dark pink. Me, I'm beige, mocha-ish. For me, color, words, ethnicity. So here I am in Great Neck. Now, what you don't know about Great Neck is Great Neck was an all upper middle class Jewish suburb. Let's just say upper class. For me to end up there, based on my conception. See, I was conceived by a Orthodox girl, and she got pregnant from a black man. Now, the Orthodox story wasn't that at all. It was that she sat on a bench near a basketball court and her dress hiked up. That's how she got pregnant. She didn't have sex with a black man. She got it from a bench. It was sperm transfer. She got semen transfer, which is different than Manhattan transfer. So that was a singing group. Semen transfer, a whole different thing. So to make a long story, she's pregnant with this baby in Chicago. She's studying to be a doctor. She knows how she got pregnant. So she flees because if her family finds out, she might never be able to come back into the house. So she flees, as all good Jewish people do, to Miami Beach at that time. She books herself into the Eden Rock Hotel. And now you might ask yourself, well, the Eden Rock, it's a very fine hotel. You know, well, apparently the Fontainebleau is fully booked. So she went to the Eden Rock. The next day, she goes to the hospital to check in because she knows she's going to be having this baby soon. And she meets up with the head of OBGYN there. Chief of staff, head of OBGYN, just so happens to be, as you'll find out later in this mini little serial, my grandfather's best friend from Brooklyn when they grew up. So he's in Miami Beach running a very Jewish hospital. My grandfather's back in New York. So she checks in. Baby's coming any day now. No husband, no boyfriend. She just wants to have the baby and give it up for adoption. Cut to New York. My whiter than you, Alan. Like, you're pink already. These people were white, you know, very white Jewish people. They are looking to adopt a baby. And so my mother calls her father. She says, Poppy, we're looking to adopt a baby. Do you know anybody? He says, do I know any? All Jews know somebody. Jews have somebody for everything. As a matter of fact, when it comes to various specialties, Jews have something for everything. Like if you say to a Jew, do you know a good proctologist? You'll ask the person, a long finger, short finger, manicured. You want a guy that bites his nails? You want Ivy League? What kind of proctologist? Jews have like catalogs of contacts and resources. My grandfather says, you know what? I have a friend in Miami Beach that owes me a favor. So my mother says, a favor? What kind of favor? A baby? He owes you a baby? He says, no, let me tell you something. 14 years ago in 1947, this guy went to Miami to interview for the job, chief of staff at this hospital, right? Said he was coming back, never came back. In the meantime, I've been moving his Buick alternate side of the street parking every day since then for 14 years. If I need a baby, he'll get us a baby. Make a long story, he gets on a payphone, which many of the people here gathered this evening may not remember payphones, but payphones were long before COVID. Payphones were the #1 delivery system of infectious viruses and diseases. There could be anywhere from 70 to 500 diseases in the receiver of a payphone. If you picked up and we didn't have Purell, we didn't have Lysol. We rubbed it on our shirt, and then we made a call on a payphone. That was our Purell. That was our Lysol. So he calls his friend from the streets of Brooklyn. He calls his friend in Miami, a long distance call, another call back to the past. Remember long distance calls? Remember being able to wrap it up with people, Alan, when you'd say, oh, this must be costing you a fortune. We probably should get off the phone. Do you remember that?
Sure.
Not tonight. Not tonight, Alan. So anyway, he calls his friend in Miami Beach. He says, Harry, Dr. Harry, it's Herman. Herman, how are you? How's the Buick? That's why I'm calling. He says, my daughter needs a baby. Do you have anything in stock? The doctor says, well, you know, because Jews are very retail oriented. He says, do you have anything in stock? The doctor says, well, you know something, Herman? Something just came in today. A girl comes in, beautiful white girl from a very, very Jewish family in Chicago, studying to be a doctor. Wouldn't you know it? She's going to have a baby any minute. Never mentions and doesn't know anything about the father. He says, if you want it, he says, it's just going to be a headache for me. There's no second parent. She just wants to adopt it to a Jewish family. Come get it. Bring a basket. He says, I'm coming today. He says, you're coming today? He says, well, where are you? Now, that's another Jewish question. Jews always ask the other person on the other end of the phone, if they're coming over now, where are you? Why do they ask, where are you? They want to know if you're near food that they like. Maybe you could pick something up for them and bring it because then they don't have to go out. Where are you? He says, I'm in Brooklyn on Flatbush Avenue. He says, do me a favor. Bring me a chocolate babka, no nuts, from Ebinger's Bakery in Brooklyn. He says, what, you can't get babka in Miami Beach? It's not good. It's dry. You can't trust it. Doesn't have nuts. I don't want the nuts. I just want the chocolate. Make a long story. My grandfather goes over, picks up a babka, runs to the airport, and is running. So you could say, essentially, that I was traded for a chocolate babka, no nuts. Gets on a plane, flies to Miami Beach, gets off the plane, runs to the hospital. He had 2 babkas. He figured if he's getting a baby, he might as well bring 2. He also bought 7 others, and that's another Jewish thing. He took them home to freeze them. You know, Jews freeze everything. Every Jewish freezer is like a time capsule. We're always afraid that something we like is going to be discontinued, so we buy all of it just to make sure we have plenty of storage. Flies to Miami Beach with the 2 babkas, gets out of the taxi, runs into the hospital. Now, this was at a time when you could just run into a hospital. You can't just run into a Jewish hospital these days because of terrorist things and all kinds of violence. So they have to have security. And at Mount Sinai today, like if you went to Mount Sinai, you can't just walk right in today because they've got many layers of security there. As a matter of fact, just last week, they added a 3rd and 4th woman in her late 90s who is a volunteer. They sit at the front. So there's 4 women now at the front eating hard candy, which the Pentagon has determined the #1 form of terrorism deterrence is elderly Jewish women in salmon-colored jackets eating hard candy. And so my grandfather, he runs in. Oh, yes, terrorists have tried Mount Sinai. And when they see the 4 elderly Jewish women there eating butterscotch, they run in the parking lot and they pull the ripcord on their vest in the parking structure. That's happened numerous times. So there's been no violence at Mount Sinai. Parking structure, there's been a lot of problems. So he goes in, gets in the elevator, goes up to the 4th floor. Where's Dr. Harry? There he is. You brought my babka. He said, where's the baby? He says, it's coming any minute. Hurry up. Get dressed. I'm a little concerned. She just broke her water and it looked like cappuccino. They get him in a scrub suit. They clean him up. And now he says, I want you at the delivery. And so there they are. The woman is there with one leg in Nova Scotia. The other leg is in Atlanta. And the baby's coming from West Virginia, somewhere in the middle. And they're all gathered around. And as the story goes, I start to crown. I'm coming out. And no yarmulke yet. There's no yarmulke, but the crown is popping in and out. And they pull me out. And the doctor says to my grandfather, go ahead, Herman, you bring him. And he puts his hand and he pulls me out. And there's a moment there where he looks at me and he looks at the birth mother. He looks at the doctor, looks at me, looks at the birth mother, looks at me, looks at the doctor. He says, I think we left him in too long. He's a little well done. Doesn't look like a white baby. So he said, well, 10 fingers, 10 toes, you have a grandson. And he called my mother. He said, bring a basket with a cover on it until we can figure out what we're going to tell people. And there I was born. and my grandfather came, took me. My parents came down to take me home to Great Neck. And from that point forward, my grandfather had a great sense of humor. He had lunch at the Friars Club every day of his life. He used to tell a joke, whether it was Passover, a funeral, it didn't matter. Whether anyone was there, we'd be gathered around and my grandfather would point at me and he'd say, you see that? You see that thing over there? And they'd say, yes. He says, worst trade in baseball history. So people would say, why? They traded 2 chocolate babkas for a black and white cookie. He was talking about me, but in the true Jewish sense, it was always about food. And so that's how I came to be. And the next day, I'm in Great Neck, New York. Now, when you think about meant to be, we were meant to be here tonight. We were meant to be here tonight for this incredible cause and for this incredible effort and resource that we provide and that we are working towards, raising money for here tonight. It's beshert. It's meant to be, If the exact circumstances of my conception had been known, I probably would have been an orphan. But because of a chocolate babka, no nuts, I'm moving to Great Neck. And that's where my life began, with a head start. Even though I'm a mixture of all of this, and things could have been difficult. I moved to Great Neck. And of course, Great Neck later invented Boca Raton, so those same Jews would have a place to fall down. Because Jews eventually fall a lot, and so they need a nice place to fall down that has good Chinese food. And that's where Boca was invented. And I live a stone's throw from Boca, although I don't qualify yet because I'm not 89 and chewing on my tongue. So, but anyway,
So
here we are.
I forgot what the question was.
It doesn't matter, Alan. This isn't about you and your questions and your stairway in the background over there. Alan's on a sitcom set, Amy. It's a sitcom in Alan's house, and he's got a stairway. It goes upstairs, but there's no upstairs. It's like All in the Family. Everyone waits right out of camera range to come in when they have their cue. Amy has a wall. Now, the exciting part about this is we're all trying to figure out what's on the other side of the wall. Is there a fireplace to her left? Do you know what I mean? Is she outside of a Boy Scout lodge? Like, the wall creates a tremendous amount of, it makes me curious. The stairway, I know, doesn't go anywhere because, Jews don't have stairs. What makes people generous? What makes people lovely? What makes people loving? What makes people kind? It's the people that understand that we're not here to fill our own pockets. We're here to help others. And the truest sense of spiritual connection is being available to be supportive, useful, loving, and kind to anyone that we can. And any opportunity to give. And Jews understand this better than anybody. We get a bad rap across the board that we're stingy, we're cheap, we don't tip. That's not true at all. Jews are the most philanthropic, giving, loving people. And when Israel is on the front of the title of a charity like this, it automatically gets a full measure of love and support and attention. So that's another reason why I'm honored to be here tonight. If I didn't have to answer any more questions from Alan, I'd be very happy.
Sorry
I've
about
had
that.
it with I've had it with his family room. Oh, there he is again with his candle. Hi, Alan.
Hi, Sarge.
Matt?
I'm here.
Fun.
I'm still here. So I have another question for you. You obviously didn't go directly into stand-up comedy, and tell us, if you would, what it was like when you first appeared before a live audience as a stand-up comic. I know it's probably a challenge.
Well, no, I don't mean to shut you down. No, it wasn't a challenge. When I was 6 years old, my grandfather used to take me to a place called Grossinger's, the Catskill Mountains, the Jewish Alps, the Borscht Belt. And children were not allowed in the showroom there. But my grandfather took me anyway. I was his gift to his daughter. So one of the greatest things he loved was comedians, and he exposed me to quite a few. Fortunately, none of them exposed themselves to me, which would be a whole different evening. As a matter of fact, I did talk to Norm Crosby with his fly down once.
Go ahead, Norm Crosby babysat for me.
quit. Well, listen, Alan, this isn't about you, okay? This is about the Israeli Tennis Education Center, and it's pretty much about me and then Michael Israel doing karate and making painting. So try to take yourself out of it for just a second. Not so Jew-centric, Alan. So funny story, though. I was backstage one time early in my career in a dressing room. I was sharing a dressing room with Jackie Mason, who's, you know, not known to be one of the most lovely people. I mean, he's got a little bit of an edge. So I'm on stage, I'm killing, and I come off, and we're sharing a dressing room. Remember this. I walk in the dressing room, and there he is, and I've never met him before. And I walk in, and I figured, well, he's going on next, so I better just stay out of his way. And I go and I sit down over there, and he's standing there in a shirt, okay, and no pants, and socks with garters and shoes. And he's holding a pair of pants in front of him. Now, I thought he would say, hey, the crowd sounds really good, good set, congratulations, mazel tov, something. Nothing. I'm sitting there. He looks over halfway. He sees me over there. He says, you know, I have never sat down in these pants. Not one time. I've had these pants for 39 years. I have never sat down in these pants. I have pants I sit down in, pants I walk in, pants I go spaziering and I go around it. These pants I've never sat down. And that was it. And he put the pants on and he went out the door. Never met him, never said hello. I'm not even sure he even made eye contact with me. It was very funny. But yeah, getting up in front of an audience is something that this is a job that picks you. You don't pick it. A lot of people decide they want to be comedians. However, stay with it, it has to pick you. You have to be somebody who innately has the ability to hold an audience. Unlike tonight, I'm usually very funny. And when I started out, it was because it was the last thing I had left to do. I remembered the dream at Grossinger's when I was there, and on that particular night, I was sitting under my grandfather's table. There was a tablecloth. I was right by his legs. He didn't want anyone to see there was a kid there. They brought me in from the back, and I'm watching Don Rickles work. And I remember thinking, at 6 years old, I remember thinking, I don't know what this guy's talking about, but I want to do that. Because behind me were 2,000 people screaming, draped over the tables, knocking over drinks. They were in shambles with laughter and joy. And I remember thinking, I want to do what that guy does. And I lived on my friend's couch, and I began to go out for open mic nights. And if you ever want to experience your own death, do open mic night 100 or 200 nights in a row. It is absolutely the most eviscerating process. Kind of like this is right now, looking at Amy against her wall. All she needs is a blindfold and a cigarette. But no, it's. Let me tell you something. You come into this knowing that it's going to be hard, but once you find out that you can do this, it is the greatest blessing in the world because you see people's faces. Once again, unlike tonight, I don't see. Only face I see is Alan and Amy's, and quite frankly, I'd rather have it stay on Amy's face. But yeah, it's you when you're this person. You know, Seinfeld said it. He said, you know, people would rather be at a funeral in the coffin than delivering the eulogy. I'm someone who wants to deliver my own eulogy from the coffin, but it's something that you just know that you are. And my idols grew up all around me. You know, Alan King gave me the greatest piece of wisdom I ever got in my life. I got to see the Rickles of the world, Gene Balos. There was a whole bunch of fantastic comedians that my grandfather exposed me to. And it wasn't until I was 29 that I began the journey. And I've been doing this for what's coming up to be 30 years. And it looks good on me because, you know, I'm a little older than Alan and I look a lot better, as you can see. See, no discernible lines in my face. Black Jewish doesn't crack, they say.
So, Sarge, on that note, have you experienced any anti-Semitic behavior because you're Black and people assume that you weren't Jewish?
Are you kidding? I'm both. I'm like a greatest hits of abuse. I mean, just take your pick. I mean, all of my relatives at some point in history were slaves. Think about it. The Jews basically invented slavery. The blacks were slaves much later. See? And so for me, with abuse, with being picked on, being made fun of, they say time and pressure is what makes diamonds. I see things differently. Jews and blacks. Think about my background. I was given this unique background. Okay, so the Jews were slaves, the blacks were slaves. And there was all kinds of, suppositions and political correctness. I'll ask you, I'll ask everyone there tonight at the event, you, Alan, and the people there, of the black slaves and the Jewish slaves, I'll just ask you, this is without any forethought, who do you think were the more annoying slaves? Some things just are, Amy. Some things just are. Jews are annoying. We're annoying people. We annoy Gentile people. We annoy ourselves. We're annoying. We were born annoying. We live in a constant state of misery and and disappointment. We're constantly disappointed. It's who we are. Gentiles wake up every morning, oh, what a beautiful morning. And they stretch and they make their coffee and we're going to have a good day. Jews wake up and they go, again, I'm up. I have to go to the dry cleaner. I have to drop off a prescription. Oh, the phone's ringing. The phone's ringing. I'm exhausted. Jews are exhausted from doing nothing. See, Gentiles are happy people, joyous. They can't wait for the day to begin. Jews are like, oh, God. What, I got to go to this ITEC event tonight? Where is it? It's on your computer. Oh, I got to go all the way over there and log on for this? For what? Jews live in a constant state of, and look at our holidays. I mean, you could, when you talk about being miserable, Gentiles are happy because they can go to church every day and they can confess their sins, Anything they do, they can go to church, they can have a little wine, they have a little cracker with the Savior on the cracker, and then they can sing some songs, some hymns written by Jewish composers. Irving Berlin wrote a lot of the early Protestant hymns. Jews, we don't go to shul every day. As a matter of fact, Jews go once a year. See, they confess every day. If one day a year we go on a starvation diet and we show up at shul for 190 hours consecutively, right? Bad breath, no food. And then we have to wait for someone to blow a ram's horn so that we can eat again. And then when they blow the horn, go tequila, bagels, and cream cheese, and it's tequila, gadola. And then they run out and they go eat until someone has a blocked artery, from cream cheese. And that's only one day a year, which means you have to walk around the rest of that time enduring Jewish holidays with a stomach full of guilt and inner hostility over the fact that you can only confess on Yom Kippur. And if you think about our holidays and how juxtaposed we are opposite the Gentiles, think about this. Very simple. Our holidays are not joyous occasions for the most part. They're usually maudlin reenactments of horrible stuff that's happened to us throughout history. And there's no people on earth that have had as much bad stuff happen to us as the Jews. Let's be honest. Right from the start, right from the first time that Adam had to decide if he had an innie or an outie, which is a whole other discussion too, because if they were the first people, why did they have belly button? I'll take you to the misery of being Jewish as opposed to the joy of being Gentile. This is why we're so generous, because we understand other people's misery. Therefore, we're willing to get out our checkbook, right? Okay. Christmas should have been a Jewish holiday. Jewish baby is born. Instead, it got stolen by the Gentiles from us. They took Christmas from us. We have to celebrate Hanukkah roughly around the same time. Now, here's the funny part. Every year, Christmas, 24th, Christmas Day, 25th, everybody knows this. The reason why Gentiles are so happy is because they know when their holidays are. Jews have no idea. Ask anybody in the room tonight, when's Hanukkah? They don't know. Is it early? No, it was late. Last year it was early. Thanksgiving, maybe December 3rd. We're never sure. We have no idea. They sneak up on us. Boom! Hanukkah. We have no idea. Second, we haven't ever decided on a spelling for Hanukkah. Nobody knows whether it's an H, it's a CH, Okay, so they have Christmas, and for Christmas, the symbol of Christmas is they get a pine tree. They get a tree to bring it in the house. Think about this. They have now there were a lot of pine trees apparently in the Negev back in Canaan, back in biblical times. For some reason, it's a pine tree that's the Christmas tree. They come in, they decorate it, they have a tree trimming party with all their friends. Hanukkah, we're celebrating the destruction of the temple, not just once, but again, and we're celebrating oil that stayed lit for a little longer than it should. Miracle oil, like CBD in a little cup. We're celebrating oil. Okay. Gentiles are celebrating the birth of a Jewish baby. We're celebrating a destroyed temple and some oil. Think about it. So they're very happy. They have a tree trimming party. And they invite all their friends over, and they drink eggnog, and they decorate a tree. Across town, Jewish baby is born. We have a penis trimming party, where the big honor is holding the baby's penis for the rabbi that's got one good eye and a dull scalpel. Then it's followed by a deli platter. Invariably, there's a relative walking around, scratching himself, asking, is there more tongue? Is there more tongue? That we're running out of tongue. We're low on tongue. Gentiles are having eggnog, Jews are eating tongue. Another juxtaposition. They have carolers. They go door to door, singing, spreading the Christmas spirit. You ever heard anybody say, come on, we're putting a group together to go door to door to spread the Hanukkah spirit? What are we doing? We're spreading our problems. We're going door to door. They knock on the door. How you doing? Hi, I'm Seymour. My son-in-law, he's a piece of crap. I got the Lexus. I should have stuck with the Genesis. My wife never shuts up, and I just had something removed from my ass. They don't know what it is. Happy holiday, by the way. Have a happy holiday. Jingle bells. You see what I mean? And it goes on like that. Purim is another one. We have another wonderful holiday called Purim. This is living proof how long Jews can hold a grudge. Think about it. Man's been dead thousands of years. We still get together to boo Haman. Hitler doesn't even have a holiday. We boo Haman, and just to get back at him, we invented a little Danish in the shape of his hat with fillings that help you poop better. A medicinal Danish cake. It's called a hamantash. It's filled with only things that help keep you moving. Prunes, apricots, and poppy, which is the run-up to Passover. Another joyous occasion. This is where we were running from bondage to freedom. Apparently, we didn't have one military general. We had no exit strategy. Millions of Jews running towards a body of water. At the time, we had no swimming experience. Jews are not big swimmers. We've only had one big swimmer in all of recorded Jewish history. That was Mark Spitz. And I don't even know where he is. Now he's a dentist, apparently. So Jews, we're not big on swimming. Basically, here's a Jew swimming. We go in up to here, and we splash ourselves. Oh, this is wonderful. So this is Passover. We escaped so that we could celebrate plagues that befell the Egyptians. Gentiles are across town preparing for Easter. They're decorating eggs. They're having chocolate bunnies and little marshmallow peeps, and they've got baskets and joy. Jews are throwing away perfectly good English muffins. We're not decorating eggs. We're burning the eggs. Burn the eggs. Burn the lambs, Jank. We need burnt things. We need an entire crematorium plate of misery. We have not herbs, but bitter herbs. Not the horseradish from the jar, but the root so people can have a stroke. And no food yet. And we have to read through a 400-page book. And 4 questions, why is this night different from all other nights? The question should be, are we eating soon? Is there going to be food? Are we having food? Because all we're drinking is wine, and then wine, and then wine. This is the night we toast a lot. People invariably will suggest that you try the chorosis. Well, I don't know. Chorosis is not in any of the food groups. Just check the toilet after you've had too much chorosis. It's called choroseria. You look in the toilet, there's walnuts, red wine, and apples swirling around in the water. It doesn't even flush. I mean, do I have to go on? You should be hysterical at this point. They shouldn't even be able to write their checks for the donations because of how hard they're laughing with the tears of joy that are flowing onto the paper.
Sarge, thank you for making us laugh when there aren't enough opportunities to laugh lately. And thank you for becoming a friend. Over the last month, we've kind of gotten to know each other, and we've had long phone conversations, and my stomach always hurts. My cheeks hurt tonight from laughing. You're a mensch. You're a fine human being, and my God, are you funny. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Way to go, Sarge. Have I reminded everybody that today is Yoni's 50th birthday? Woohoo! Happy birthday, Yoni. We love you. And now, straight from the courts in Israel, our National Director of Tennis and Social Programming, Mr. Hans Felius.
Thank you, Amy, for your gracious introduction. I'm so happy to be here with all of you and share how we at the Israel Tennis and Education Centers are adjusting to the new reality in order to deliver essential urgent services to our most vulnerable children. As you saw in the video, the Israel Tennis and Education Center's 14 sites are located in the geographic or the socio-economic periphery of Israel. This is intentional, so we can serve the largest number of at-risk children. Our goals at each of the centers are to keep vulnerable children off the streets, to teach them skills for life, and to give them equal opportunities in life regardless of their background, religion, race, or gender. To achieve these goals, the majority of our children are given scholarships to participate in our tennis and fitness programs, mental health programs, and educational programs. During the first COVID-19 wave, Israel was in a 7-week lockdown from March 17 until May 10. From day one, ITEC set up communication with as many youth as possible via WhatsApp, videos, and Zoom sessions, providing them with a daily routine, tennis and fitness exercises, and educational programs. After 2 weeks, we added via Zoom mental health sessions to address the mounting anxiety and depression. Although we daily reached over 5,000 children, we knew that we didn't reach all of them. Within 2 weeks of reopening our centers after a 2-month hiatus, around 70% of the children returned to their ITEC home. However, we quickly realized that our most vulnerable children didn't participate in our extensive lockdown communication because they don't have a computer, tablet, or cell phone at home, and many do not have access to the internet. We are increasingly concerned for these children's well-being. We know from research and our own eyes and ears that the pandemic has intensified the adversity of the at-risk youth we serve. In Israel, we have seen that the corona crisis has led many at-risk youth to turn to drugs, alcohol, eating disorders, and self-harm. Some have become homeless, without a family, without anything. Weak populations, which are routinely at the margins, have been pushed even further to the edge. ITEC's goal is to prevent our children from turning to a lifetime of addiction and crime. We have established the Children's Emergency Relief Fund to reach the remaining 2,500 children, bring them physically back to their second home, ITEC, when possible, and provide distance learning opportunities as alternatives when necessary. The Children's Emergency Relief Fund will provide scholarships for 2,500 at-risk children to return to their second home, where they find a supporting, loving, nurturing, and safe environment. Feed the children nourishing meals when they are at our centers. Provide vital social and educational services, including remote mental health sessions through Zoom, in order to cope with their emotional and psychological reactions to the pandemic, death of loved ones, and abuse that they may have witnessed at home, and financial stress that their family is under. Distribute tablets to a minimum of 750 children. I'm excited to report that in the past 2 weeks we distributed 450 tablets to our most vulnerable children, so we could stay in communication with them during future lockdowns and provide remote mental health services. Another 300 children are waiting in the wings for their tablets. I want to share with you a few of the dramatic stories that surfaced during our mental health care sessions this week. I will read them to you. The first one is from Mariam from our ITEC center in Akko. She is 15 years old. The pandemic caused me to feel a sense of loss and loneliness. I saw the struggle my parents and siblings were going through. I didn't know how we were going to survive each day, but ITEC was there for us. Another one from Roy, also 15, from our ITEC center in Beersheba. During the coronavirus pandemic, I found myself stuck between four walls instead of 4 lines of a tennis court. The virtual mental health and educational sessions gave me a routine and made me feel a part of a much bigger family. And then the last one, which is really an emotional one, from a 7-year-old boy, and he got a tablet. He had his first mental health session just last Sunday, and he said the following: "My grandparents died during the corona lockdown. I'm afraid to leave my house because I'm scared of dying." We need your help to save 2,500 vulnerable children whose lives are in jeopardy by helping them return to their sanctuary, ITEC, where your generosity will empower them, instill values, and provide them with loving care. Thank you for being here tonight and for saving children's lives.
Hans, thank you for a beautiful presentation and for every bit of your heart that you pour into our children. We're very grateful. My friends, I'm honored to introduce a dedicated ITEC supporter, CEO of Cowen Global Investment Banking, husband to our very own Global Business Board member, Linda Solomon, and humbly, the worst tennis player in his family, Jeff Solomon.
Thanks, Amy. Yeah, it's true. I am the worst tennis player in the family. And so you might be wondering why I'm here tonight to talk about the Israel Tennis and Education Center. And I think it's probably befitting because I think we can dispense with the notion that it's all about tennis. You know, at ITEC, we just heard from Hans the dire situation that's really going on with youth at risk and the challenges that many of the families are facing from the coronavirus, the ensuing unemployment, the financial distress, the hunger, anxiety, and depression that come along with this disease. The spread of the virus is continuing in Israel as well. And I think all of us are hearing this about what's happening in the US a lot, but in Israel, it's very real. And we're at the point now where we could be facing another lockdown in Israel as well. And that makes it very difficult for ITEC to continue to be the safety net for the children and their families. You know, it is our goal in doing this tonight to bring back 2,500 children who are the most vulnerable to our centers so that they can receive mental health counseling, address the fears that they've developed from social isolation and the trauma of the pandemic and the lockdown. It also may be their only chance to have a good meal every day. And so for these children, if we don't step up tonight, it won't be possible for ITEC to do the great work that it does, which is transforming their lives, helping them to avoid lives of crime and violence and addiction. The total amount of the Children's Emergency Relief Fund that we're looking to raise is $1.4 million for all of the children at ITEC. And that will allow us to continue to provide services to them for most of the next 6 months. And so what we're asking each of you to do this evening is to think about how much you can do. $250 provides these vital services for one child at risk for the next 6 months. You know, in these troubling times, each of us has the ability to make a difference in the lives of others. And I'm often asked as the chair and CEO of Cowen by my employees and by our shareholders and by our investors, you know, what can I do to make a difference? I feel sometimes helpless with the challenges facing the world today and so much division. And what I say is I think we all have the ability to do one good deed a day, to change someone's life for the positive. In fact, this is really an opportunity for you today to take that chance to make a positive difference in the lives of others. You can do one good deed today by supporting us here at ITEC. And I'm guessing if you look far enough back in your own family history, you will find people of means who probably did things to help your parents, your grandparents, your great-grandparents in their time of need. Most of us are where we are today because of the grace of those wonderful people who gave anonymously. And so now it's our turn to pay it forward. So please join me and Linda and the many other wonderful lay leaders at ITEC on the board by giving to help save the lives of these vulnerable children. Help them from slipping over the edge and give them the chance one day to pay it forward. Thank you so much.
guys for coming. You've been awesome. Come on, we've all seen this in the museums. It's a famous Van Gogh. I think it's called Golf at Night. No, seriously, art should be passionate. It should make the hair stand up on the back of your neck and goosebumps raise. It should make your heart pound in your chest. It should mean something. If you come into this world with a blank canvas, don't you want more than a dot on it? So the more energy I get from you guys, the wilder and crazier it's gonna get here. So I can't hear you. You've got to type it into the chat. So let's do this. Thumbs up, cheer, go Michael, type it in, let's go. Are you guys ready to make some art? Music, please.
So much fun to see. I don't know about you. I don't quite feel done yet. I think I would love to see one more painting done. What about you all? If you want another one, let's see it in the chat. Yes, encore. I think we can get one more painting out of Michael tonight. Let's see if we can. Go to the chat, type in encore. Let's see if we can get him back for one more painting tonight to end out the show. That's it. Thank you. Yes.
Hey, you guys tired? I'm tired, but I've got something really special planned for you. It's the first time I'm doing this one, but you know, we got to think about the future. What do we want our future to be like? So, I think you're gonna like this. Are you guys ready? I need your energy on this one. Push it into the chat. Are you guys ready?
Let's do this. Music, please. You guys had an amazing night. I think you're amazing for being here. Thank you.
I want to thank all our friends and our iTech family and our board members, our Sarge groupies, and our Michael Israel fanatics. Thank you for your generosity tonight. Every child in Israel that we're able to help is one more child that might just save the world. We hope in these crazy times when good health and fun are never a sure thing, we made you laugh and kept you entertained and kept you up past your bedtime. Most importantly, stay safe, stay healthy, and don't forget to laugh. Good night.
Hi friends, we are thank you very much for your help.
We appreciate your gift, your help. Thank you.
I thank you very much for the laptop. We are so grateful and we really appreciate it. And we say a big thank you for all your wonderful gifts. And we say God bless you and thank you very much.
Hi, it's Leah, the manager of our Arad Center. I just want to say thank you from bottom of my heart for your support, for me, our staff, and our Arad family. תודה רבה וחג שמח.
שלום, אנחנו רוצים להגיד תודה לידידינו כל התורמים מארצות הברית, לתרומה שלהם על הטאבלטים לילדים. זה מאוד עוזר, זו תקופה שהם צריכים את כל הלימוד מהבית, לימוד מקוון, והטאבלטים מאוד עוזרים לילדים, ואנחנו רוצים להודות לכם. תודה רבה.
Thank you very much. We love you, America.
Thank you very much.